Ladies, gentlemen and others, welcome to qualifying for the Virtual Motorsport Group's debut event, the 1000 Miles of Sebring, here on VMG TV. The virtual configuration of this classic American track is sure to give us a fantastic few hours of racing on Saturday. But right now, we're here for one thing, and that is seeing who can set the fastest lap time across the session. The plan is today for a 30-minute combined GTE and GT3 session for a quick break, which is followed by 20 minutes of LMP2 running around this grueling 3.7 miles or 6 kilometers of bumpy runways and back roads to decide the grid for Saturday's race. My name is McIntyre. Alongside me is the lovely Squire. Hello Ron, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Ross, thank you very much. Hello everyone, this is a classic race, of course. And yeah, this should be a pretty good event for a debut race for VMG.
Yes, obviously the original plan was to host this qualifying session tomorrow, but rFactor decided to host their Spa Invitational tomorrow, and we obviously wanted to give them a chance and actually have some drivers, because we know that everyone would come and race for us instead of them. So we've given them a chance and instead moved the qualifying just a little day earlier to Thursday, maybe give everyone who maybe isn't quite as happy with their qualifying performance, so just a little bit more time to maybe hone and get some practice in. Now, coming into qualifying, just some information you should know. As I already mentioned, the GTE and GT3 categories are going to be on track at the same time, which is why they have a slightly longer session, because there is a lot more cars of them than compared to just the singular LMP2 category. And also, they are a lot closer than we expected coming into this race. We were here in the comms booth, we were just keeping an eye on practice, and I can tell you that some of the GT3 cars are up there and fighting with the top GTEs. So keep your eye on that as we head through the session. And now, just a few minutes to go until the start of qualifying, and when we see the GTE and GT3s head out. And there is just another thing you should know, that there is a bit of a technical issue on our side with the game. The number 40 Reading Game Studios car is displaying incorrectly, and also on the screen I believe is coming up in its own category. Please our apologies for that. That should be fixed for the race. We're not quite sure what has happened there, but everything is still working as planned. And another thing you should know as well is that obviously it is only one driver per team for qualifying, and it has been the case for practice as well. This practice session we've just had, it was your qualifying driver and your qualifying driver only was allowed to be in the car. So you're not allowed to driver change. So you should expect to see the fastest people out on the track as the moment. But you can start the race with whoever you want on the Sunday. So it may be a very different driver in the car, or come Saturday, excuse me, apologies for mistake there on my behalf. So yeah, you may see a very different driver in the car come Saturday race start. So just don't be surprised if there's any driver lineup changes. You may see, some cars being driven by different people on the Saturday first, some may not. And on the subject of driver lineup changes, there is no real deadline for driver lineup changes as it is in this race. So you may see, frankly, an entirely new squad. It probably won't happen, but yeah, just keep that in mind as we head into qualifying. We should be starting fairly soon. There's about 1 minute left on the clock on my side of things before the qualifying event starts. Ron, just going to you quickly. How are you feeling going to this? You excited, confident? Where's your mind at coming into the 1000 Miles of Sebring?
I'm just properly looking forward to it. That's what I've got to say about it. We always have those things in our mind saying if a series is going to work out or not. It all depends on whether the first event will bang, and surely this would be the time that VMG will actually come into fruition, saying yes, we are a series that we seem attractive to you. We want you to drive for us. I feel this is the chance. This is the proper chance for VMG to stand out saying yes, here we are, we're here, we're coming to play, we want.
And well, I mean, you're definitely right there. And we've managed to attract a fantastic list of cars. Plenty of cars, plenty of big teams around. Obviously, there's a big, well-known team behind all of this who are all running behind the scenes at VMG. You've got some big names, big drivers, big teams. So hopefully, it all comes together. And the plan is, as it stands, is to have a season next season, an endurance series does this all go well? I can confidently say that I believe it will. So just fingers crossed and to see how the qualifying and race goes now. And according to my clock, the qualifying should be starting. And yes, as you can see there on the screen, we are green now as a Ferrari and a Porsche pulls out of the pits. Now, I can tell you now that you may see up the top of the windscreens that there is a different coloured bands. This is just for aid in helping viewers to and drivers alike to just tell who's in the different categories. The green band is GTE category. The orange or yellow band, whichever one you choose it's kind of a bit of a mix to my eyes, is GT3, and the blue band is of the LMP2 class. But frankly, you shouldn't really struggle that much telling apart the LMP2s from the GT cars, as we can see on the screen here. Just the opening cars coming out of the session. We're following around Nico Barkley here in the 1ACO Ferrari, the number 18. Obviously, you know, there's a couple of cars that you'll be definitely benefit off putting your money on, and this is one of them. They've been quick. All the practice sessions, you know, and the unofficial ones, and the official one we had not just an hour ago. And I'm hoping today that we will see that they can carry that pace forward into qualifying. Obviously, we're not going to see anybody setting the world alight immediately as the track evolution occurs. Obviously, when the cars go around, more and more rubber gets laid down on the surface of the track, and it's going to get faster and faster as the session goes on. So expect to see at the end of this half hour, that's when the fastest lap times are going to be set by the cars. And as I was mentioning earlier, do keep your eye on the GT3 category, because the fastest GT3s are really up there and mixing it with the GTEs. They are on the pace, and you know, they are surprisingly close. So I thought the gap was going to be a lot bigger than what it is. And you will see GTE and GT3 cars battling each other, not just for, you know, for overall position, not just between class or lapping. This is for overall position. So keep your eye open for that, you know, today and on Saturday for the race. You know, that should be something interesting to watch. Obviously, the LMP2 category just a little bit faster than both of them. As we continue to follow Nico Barkley round, he's now on his first time lap. And we should be getting some sector times in any moment now as he comes up to the sector line. I believe it is here. Or it may be further around the track. My apologies, that seems to be my mistake of not knowing the track as well as I should, as he just heads through the hairpin turn and through the Fangio chicane and up to Cunningham Corner. And there you are, obviously a purple first sector because he's the first car out on the track. And now coming through Cunningham Corner, it's really tight and twisty back into the circuit. It's a really thrilling experience to drive this when you get it right. But it's so technically tricky. Braking, try desperately not to lock up that inside wheel as you flick it through this right-hander, and now onto the fast back section. As you can see the Porsche there as well, just coming through that right-hander, now through the left, and now another left again, and into Genderbian Bend, and onto the Le Mans curves. Again, fantastic section of corners. You can really take this really fast, get over as wide as you can for the Le Mans curve, and onto the Ulman straight. It's another purple sector, obviously, as the first car out on track. All he has to do now is negotiate Sunset Curve. This, whenever I've driven around Sebring and Sid, this has always been the one that kills me. It's really tricky to get the car in, get the car turned and stable. You can see a bit of a wobble there for Mr. Barkley at the Ferrari, but it looks like he manages to keep it all neat and tidy and manages to get through in one piece. And the first time in qualifying, it looks like it's going to be a 1:58.8. Great time there for Mr. Barkley. We'll see where the Porsche comes in behind. The TCC Motorsport car 5/10 down. So we are starting off in the 58s. That's pretty positive, I must say. A couple of the cars out on track. We've already had a new purple first sector, a new purple second sector as well, so keep your eye on those. As on the live timing, as here with Ryan Walker in the GT3 in the McLaren, and we can see that the first GT3 time starting to go in. As it stands, the AFP GT3 car on pole, the number 38. Now, there's obviously more GT3 cars than there is GTE cars, being called the GTE Pro and GT Rookie class in this event. And obviously, more variation of cars in the GT3 class. You know, in the GTE, we have 2 Corvettes, 4 Porsches, and 4 Ferraris, while in the GT3, GT3 class. You know, we've got a BMW, we've got an Audi, we've got a couple of Aston Martins, we've got plenty of Ferraris, we've got a couple Porsches, and we have got that McLaren, the 720S with satellite racing, which we were just following around a moment ago. Here's James Zubia for the PinSim Drillers Esports GTE Ferrari. They've set some really good sectors out here, hugging the wall really close to cross the line on provisional pole. It's not a purple last sector. Managed to go 2/10 clear of Musion Sim Racing. And that Ferrari with that green band, which tells you that it is a GTE car. About 6 minutes into the session now, and we can see one of the I believe that's the GT3 Corvette, or I'm mistaken, apologies, it's the GTE Corvette. The GT3 Corvette is not in this event. Coming through now, following the Ferrari, here's Ben Corbin, left field Lunatics, currently out, I believe, setting his first lap. Number 44, coming through onto the fast section car. There's a big VMG logo on the back of that car, just in case you forget what series you're driving in. As he comes through now into the Le Mans curve. Doesn't take as much of the exit of the track as I'd have expected, but then again, it is the first lap. Just clips the grass a bit there as well. And it comes to the inside to maybe try and hug the wall a bit, I'm not too sure. Or no, just getting the dirt off his tyres. Seems to have aborted this lap. Fair enough, it wasn't a great last couple corners. And then again into the Le Mans curve. Here is the Aston as it heads onto the straight. The Aston of I believe that's Reading Game Studios that we're following around, and we are, and it's as you can see, they're in their own category. Do ignore that. That's just a bit of a technical glitch on our side, which should be fixed for the race. As he heads around the final corner now, Paolo Pankovic to set the lap time in the GT3 Aston. It's a 201.209. Not a bad lap by any means. Currently down in P16. So it's not horrendous. There's an Audi off there, just coming back on the screen. Obviously, there's plenty more GT cars than there is LMP2 cars, as I mentioned, as we follow the Drillers Esports car round. And the position is going to be a lot tighter. We can see just how tight it is up at the top. You know, the top kind of 5 are all covered by 6/10 of a second, and one of those is a GT3 car, so that's very close. Just going to go to you, Ron, for a second here. How, do you think in the race the GT3 cars will be able to, fight for positions with the GT cars? Or do you think, the endurance category is going to be faster than the rookie category? What do you think?
Well, the bottom section, as we saw at the beginning of qualifying, it seems a bit mixed up. That shows me that the GT3 category can take the fight to the GTE. They just did have a little. They just need to just take the fight to him. That's all I'm going to say. But again, we'll find out what happens in the race.
Obviously, still 20 minutes to go here in the GT section of the qualifying, and the lap times are only going to get faster and faster as we go on. So we will have to see what happens as we're following around Oliver Teglis in the TTW Corvette as it rounds Sunset Bend, using all the track and then some across the line. There's a car darting into the pits in the background. It's a 2 minutes 0.1, which is it's a good lap time. Slots them into a 13th place. That's P8 overall in category, which is certainly respectable, I must say. As we continue to follow them around with the first portion of the lap, let's see if they can do anything better through here. Obviously, with the onboard in the bottom right on the screen, let's try and see what we can do without really using the curb on the exit of that corner, and then just getting as tight as you can through this big long right-hander, aptly named the Big Bend, which is please excuse me, it's called the Gurney Bend. It used to be called the Big Bend. It's not anymore. I need to keep up with my names of corners. Really cutting across the grass here through the Fangio chicane, and now back across. Coming on the approach to Cunningham Corner, you can really hang it left and then brake as late as you physically can into here, although you actually really want to brake earlier than you think you should, because you want to get a nice and early turn in for the late apex to try and maximize your speed through here. It's a green first sector for the TTW car. Now heading through. Nicely done. Doesn't quite use all the curb on the exit. Probably maybe lost a little bit of time through there, just clipping the exit of the curb, and then again not using all the curb on the inside of the car, and you can see those little mistakes costing them in the middle sector. It's a yellow middle sector, and it's also a yellow in 60 in the first sector, although it's no longer a yellow in the first sector. Here's Chris Vacker in the TCC Motorsport car. That very nice gradient livery, I must say, heading down into Sunset Bend, turning in. Really tricky corner this. I'm sure that everyone is aware it's just super hard to keep the car planted, and you've got to maximize your speed in and your speed out, and just to keep the car planted through the corner to avoid the car twitching on the throttle. You want to try and avoid the brakes. That's a purple final sector for the TCC Motorsport car, slotting in 5th overall in class, 6th overall and 5th in class. That's a great final sector, so keep your eye on them. It appears to although the Drillers Esports car is on pole by 2/10, just judging by that, it appears that the Porsches through the final corner are quite dominant. Here's Lucas Lichten in the AFP BMW number 18, and he comes into the pits. Lucas Lichten disappointing us here. Obviously, the middle sector was not improved. I'm going to assume that he made a bit of a mistake. Actually, comes in for a change of tyres actually as well. So clearly happy with his last lap. He's currently sitting not sitting P2 in class. Apologies. Here's Joseph Fagbo for DDoS in their Porsche. P7 overall, P6 in class, that TTF GT3 car, number 51. Really out here separating the men from the boys in that Ferrari. They are, yeah, that car is really put in a very good lap time. It's Christian Pasquale at the wheel of that. He's yeah, it's a very good lap time indeed. You know, he's got a 4/10 on the next GT3 car, and up there, you know, fighting it out with the GTEs, which are, you know, custom made for racing, while GT3s are essentially just road cars with all the inside ripped out, and then the engine and suspension and brakes upgraded and all of that. And here's Nico Barkley. He's hit a purple middle sector in the 1ACO car, looking to get back at Drillers Esports. Can he do anything as he comes across the line to go on provisional pole? It's not quite there. Slower in the final sector. It is improved, but it is very close. 0.06 of a second separating the two cars with about 15 minutes to go in qualifying. It's very close, I must say. Just onto the next car in the lineup that we're going to talk about. Here's Hat Bootsy Jam, which I have officially nominated as the greatest name ever to in the race. I was going through the entry list the other day just to make sure I could pronounce everybody's right, and just a little message from me. If I do pronounce the name wrong, I do apologize for that. Please do just message me. You can contact me through the Discord server and just let me know how I should pronounce your name. But Hat Bootsy Jam, that's a fantastic name, I must say. On his outlap, let's see if we can follow him. Bit of a wobble through the final corner. Yeah, as I was mentioning, let's see if we can follow him through this lap of the race. Target time on 1:58.3. I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to achieve that, because the GTs do seem just to have the slight pace advantage over the GT3s. As there's a Porsche on the exit that really has to slam on the brakes as Mr. Jan gets on the grass a bit there. I don't think he was expecting the Porsche to come out like that. Get the car turned in. A little bit sloppy, getting that classic Ferrari, not quite willing, and a little bit of a on-throttle understeer as well. And the team MRTI Grumelli Racing heading down now into the hairpin. On the brakes, hard, getting really close to the white line there. Using all the curb on the exit as well. Keeps turning in as well to keep his momentum going. Doesn't straight line it, which is not what you should do in any situation, whether it be a go-kart or a virtual race car. It's a second down on I'm not sure if that's the GTE category or the GT3. I'd assume that's the GT3 time. Here's Ryan Walker in the Satellite Racing McLaren 720S, the only McLaren on the grid today and on Saturday. I thought we'd be seeing, you know, it's good to have variation on the grid. Obviously, we've got many manufacturers, especially in the GT3 category. But obviously, the only team running the McLaren, it's and I mentioned that, and here I believe is the only team running the Audi. Mugen Sim Racing, who are out here, you know, setting a good time. P3 overall. You know, it's 5/10 off the AFP BMW. Gergo Ballo at the wheel at the moment. But it's you know, it's a very good time, especially the you know, the Audi can be a bit unpredictable sometimes. It's very much a hit and miss car. It's either the fastest thing in the field by a good few seconds, or it's not. No in between with the Audi. So it's good to see Mugen Sim Racing out here giving it a chance as Gergo heads into Sunset Bend. Let's see if he can improve on his time. He's P10 overall at the moment, which P3 in class. Number 39, Mugen Sim Racing manages to stay pretty stable. Little bit of a wobble on the exit. Let's see what it does crossing the line. And it's a 59.4. That is a very respectable lap time. Gets him just that little bit closer to the AFP car, the AFP BMW. Now just about a tenth separating them. About 15 minutes to go in this qualifying. Following now Callum Humbly in the Team Falcon Porsche. Into Sunset Bend again we go. Rod, you wouldn't have happened to have driven Sebring at all in your at any point, have you?
I have back in 2015 when I was driving in the I forgot what it's called, the International Sim Racing. I don't know. ISAM. Will Barnes knows this, and I drove in the LMP1 class for my team back then, Squire Motorsports, with someone called Jack. I forgot his second name. Yeah, Jack. I someone else. I kind of forgot about it, and basically it went awry after a few laps, and I retired from the race, and we couldn't get back in, unfortunately.
It's a shame to hear, but it seems we have had similar experiences at Sebring. The one race I've had here, I went out in 20 minutes, although it did kickstart my commentary career, so there's that, I suppose. But yeah, if you were, you know, obviously you've been around here before. What would you say the main tips and advice for Sebring that you would give if someone asked you right now?
Don't underestimate it. That's what I'm going to say. Don't underestimate or overestimate it. Just do your normal driving around here. Just do what you can, and for the last corner, be aware of the bumpiness. Be aware of the bumpiness throughout the last corner, at least, because that's the place that's going to catch you out the most.
Yeah, and the bumps obviously something to watch out for. But Adam Serage in the Mugen Sim Racing Porsche clearly isn't bothered by them, as he's managed to just stick it on provisional pole with a 158.1. Great lap there from the Mugen driver in the Porsche. But as you were mentioning, yeah, the bumps through the last corner, they are a killer. It's so easy just to get it wrong on the entry or even the exit. Just get your throttle in, put your brake, or even your steering it, but just ever so slightly wrong, and it just spits you out.
Yeah, especially during mid corner.
Yeah, mid corner is Sebring is it is a tough track. It's not for the faint-hearted. As you just mentioned, obviously you should just approach it as you normally approach a track, but it is very unforgiving. If you make a mistake, it does punish you. So you do really need to be careful. That last corner, it's a big long sweeping right-hander. It's awkwardly tight for a medium speed corner as well. Kind of almost a triple apex affair. And it's bumpy. It's concrete as well, so it doesn't provide you with the same grip that you'd expect over the rest of the track. And the tires are straining and overheating, especially as you come up to the exit. Your left-hand side tires are just melting, especially in RF2. So it is really give and take here. What can you get away with as you come around the lap? It is just it's its own animal. It's a difficult track to master, Sebring. It's a difficult track to go fast. So you really do have to put the hours in around here in order to get good, as they say. Yeah, it was a very disheartening laugh.
Yeah, disheartening and not surprised, more like.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Ron.
Yeah.
Again, following around Hat Bootsy Jam here in P12 overall. It's a very good showing here from Mr. Jam, or Yam. I am still not very sure how to pronounce that. Do let me know before the race, please.
Well, you had to say that pronunciation was a bit jammy.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Indeed, it is a bit jammy. There we go. Habut's Jam crosses the line. Does improve his time. Doesn't appear that he makes up any places though. Still P12 overall. Still P5 in class. It's going to be obviously the GT3 cars. The faster of the GT3 cars seem to be almost in the just on the back end of the slower GTE cars. Apart from that, obviously it's very close, obviously, especially in the middle of the pack. And that TTF racing car, oh, big wobble there for Ethan Lim. That TTF racing car, the number 51, has put in an absolutely mega lap to put itself 5th overall. But obviously, it appears that, you know, if you're towards the top of the GT3 field, you can definitely be looking forward to some battles in the 1,000 miles on Saturday. Obviously, it's an endurance race, and anything can happen, as everyone says time and time again. But you know, we still like to make predictions. That's just human nature. We like to understand what's going to happen in the future. So that seems to be how it's going to go. Looks like the GT3s and GTs are going to be together the entire race. And on the subject of predictions, Ron, do you have any going into the race? You know, any predictions for who's going to get pole? Anybody who you think's going to be able to perform well?
I would say for the top category at least, because they're obviously going to get pole in the top category. I think it's either going to be between Evolution, Netrex, or Mugen. That's what I'm going to say. Aspertino might get there, but I just can't see them pushing. Either between Mugen, Netrex, and I forgot to get that name right now. I said it earlier, but yeah, that's my other prediction.
That is fair enough. Obviously, the top category yet to head out should be heading out in about not quite 7 minutes time, just a bit over that. We obviously need to allow for the GT cars to any that are on lap as the session for GT comes to an end to finish their lap and then get back to the pits. There's yellow in sector 1. Ooh, and Bojan Bogodov having a big moment mid-corner there for the Drillers Ferrari as he is up the purple middle sector. Let's see if that affects his time, and it does. Manages to stick it P2 overall, but what could have been if he's no, that's a P. That is P2. Apologies. And there's a car off to the inside there, and you know what could have been. That was a big moment coming through Sunset Bend. So that could have been pole. I reckon it's very tight between the two. Here's Lucas Lichten in the AFP BMW with, must say, a very nice livery as always from the AFP guys. Again, another big wobble there and on the exit as well. Oh, and he's in the wall.
Oh no, he nearly went into the wall.
Well, Lucas Lichten, very late abortion of that lap as he touches the wall. Hopefully that's not too long in the pits, or he can just teleport straight back to the pits and head back out there. I suspect we'll be seeing just a little bit of track quietness in a moment before everybody heads out for their last ditch efforts, with about 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go on the clock. Mugen Sim Racing Porsche still sitting pretty at the top, but as we're following around here, and it said another purple sector has Adam Serge on his way round, coming through Le Mans curve. He does get a little bit wide though. That might cost him a few tenths. But the Drillers Esports car, cars right on the tails, and the 1ACO car not far behind as well. Obviously, then a bit of a gap to the TTF Racing GT3. I must say, I don't predict that any GT3s are going to be quite challenging for pole, but that is as I've mentioned before, a fantastic lap there from the TTF Racing car, the number 51. Adam Serge crossing the line. What can he do? Seems like he doesn't improve on his previous time. I'm not sure if he just lost the time coming through Le Mans curve and getting on the grass, or if that was the lap time invalidated due to it running too wide. Is every possibility. Here's Nico Barkley in the 1ACO Ferrari, coming now towards the back half of the circuit. This rapid series of high-speed corners, you know, really require concentration, and it's really precise to get them right. Obviously, precision is required at any racetrack, but you know they're super short, super quick corners, so you really need to be on the money every time to make sure you can maximize your speed. And on the subject of speed, Nico had a purple middle sector and a green first sector as well. So Let's see what he can do coming to Sunset Bend. It seemed like it's pretty even between the Porsches and the Ferraris on the pace. It seemed like the Ferraris have had the upper hand in the middle sector, but the Porsches have been slightly quicker through the last and first. Nico Barkley getting very close to the wall there for the 1ACO driver. Crosses the line. Can he go faster? No, he cannot. Just 0.2 shy of his personal best. Not quite there. Maybe just trying to get the tyres up to temperature. I'm not sure. Here's Christian Pasquale, the man at the wheel of the TTF racing car, who's set a purple middle sector. Wow. That's a phenomenal time from the GT3 driver in the GT rookie category, as it's called here today. That's a very, very strong middle sector from the TTF man in the GT3. Let's see what he can do coming through the final turn. As you can see in his onboard here, managing to keep it fairly straight. No wobbles to be seen on the main screen. Comes round. Doesn't run it as wide as he could. Obviously feels there's a little bit more time to be held by keeping it off the wall. Sets a 58.6. Fantastic lap, and he closes the gap to the 1ACO car. Wow, what a lap there from the TTF racing man. That is phenomenal stuff that we're seeing from that car. Christian Pasquale is really, really putting in a big shift today. I must say he's a long way ahead of Lucas Lichten in the Agostino Force Polonia BMW, and by no means is Lucas Lichten a bad driver. He is a very, very quick driver. He's very, very good. So Christian Pasquale is keep your eye on him. He's one to be reckoned with on Saturday, as it seems. Obviously, we can't get a scope on how the other driver's doing, because there's a McLaren off to the right-hand side there. But you can take a good estimation of the car setup, and certainly one driver from qualifying with 3 minutes to go in this session. Here's Bojan Bogdanov in the number 20 PinSim Drillers eSports car on his outlap, looking to try and challenge for the pole. He's currently 600ths off of the Musion Sim Racing car. And then behind him, his teammate is not at all that far off either. Just one and almost 1.5 tenths off is James Zubia. It's really close, and then just behind him, Nico Barkley is 600ths there. So at the top of the field, it is super, super tight. You know, I really think anybody could get pole in the GT category. Ron, just coming through to the last kind of minute or two of qualifying. Are there any observations that you've made? Any specific points you want to pick up on?
No, I don't think so. It's just that the Mugen team have actually done well this time round. But keep an eye on PinSim Drillers. They are really trying to put as much pressure on them as much as they can.
Well, they really are, as we can see. Obviously, PinSim Drillers, they are a very, very quality team. They got a win in both the hypercar category and the LMP2 category this year at the GTR 24 Hours of Le Mans. Obviously, a very prestigious race that. So they're certainly a force to be reckoned with, a very strong team. Switching to the other Drillers car now as it comes around the final corner. Here's James Zubin, and he set 2 purple sectors coming to the line. He has time to set another lap time as well. What is it? It's not quite fast enough. And oh my word, it is close at the top now. He is 200ths off his teammate. And it is super tight. There's still another lap in it for James Zubia in the Drillers car. The number 17. His teammate in the number 20, I believe, is on a lap as we speak, though it's not improved. I'd assume he's trying to warm up Bojan Bogdanov. Nico Barkley as well seems to be warming up to a lap. I assume Adam Serug's out there as well. Christian Pasquale's in the pits in the GT3 category. I'm sure he's extremely happy with his time. I think it's pretty safe to say that he's got pole position for the GT3 category. Still going to follow James out on this lap. Let's see what it can do. It's not quicker through the first sector. It's quite a way down. I'm not sure if there was a mistake there, but it's quite a way down for James as we head with 40 seconds to go in this GT session. Coming through Collier Curve and into Tower Turn. So called due to the big tower that lies on the outside of the track there. Doesn't quite use all the runoff, leaves a bit of space in there. You know, he's still confident in his ability, I'm sure. He's a very quick driver. Coming through the fast sections, yellow flag in sector 1. That could be a car going off. That may be disastrous for any cars trying to finish or start a new lap, but it seems to have gone now. And again, James is down on his best time in the middle sector. It's not going to be improvement, I don't think. Another yellow flag in sector 1 again. Following James round, that's the checkered flag out for the GT categories here in qualifying. He rounds the final corner, a bit of a wobble on the way in. I don't think it's going to be improved, and I can tell you now that Adam Seroj has not improved in the Musion car, as has Bojan Bogdanov in the other Drillers car, neither has Nico Barkley. Here is Gogo Ballo in the Musion Sim Racing GT3 car. Has improved in the middle sector in the Audi. Coming through Sunset Bend, checkered flag is out, obviously decides to have bought the lap. He is happy with his positions. There's Ethan Lim in the Team LRL car, P14 overall. Good performance from them. Seems that everybody has had enough of their laps. There is I can tell on the live timing, no one else is out on the track, so that appears to be it for your GTE qualifying. As we and yeah, we can tell here that is the end of your GT3 qualifying here at the VMG 1000 Miles of Sebring. Here we can see the GTE grid with Adam Seroj on pole in the Musion Sim Racing car, then the two Drillers car lineup, one behind the other, Bojan Bogdanov in the 20 and James Zubia. And then in 4th place, we've got Nico Barkley in the 1 ACO car. Then we've got Christian Pasquale with a great lap in the TTF Racing GT3. Chris Vacker putting in a nice lap as well in the TCC Motorsport car. Joseph Fagden in the DDoS Racing 21. Maximilian Kalinch in the Black Hawk Racing at number 27. Lucas Lichten lines up 2nd in GT3 for Apostino Force Polonia. Then we've got Ethan, not Ethan, then we've got Gogo Ballo in the Musion Sim Racing Audi. Oliver Telekus in the TTW car. Ben Corbin followed by Hat Bootsy Jam, Ethan Lynn, Rolf Vargard, Ryan Walker, Pavel Pankovic, and then that seems to be it for your grid for the GTE category. As we just follow the cars into the pit lane, what can we take from that, Ron? What's your outtake from that qualifying session for the GT cars?
Yeah, like I said, it's been mixed up. But though, remember what I said earlier? It's going to get very, very close between the GTs and GT3s, and we'll have to wait and see what the LB2s have to offer.
And obviously, might be some cars out there which are, trying a more of a race, a centered setup. So you may see cars which have qualified near the back end of the grid, flying their way through tomorrow because they just have the race pace and other cars don't. But as you mentioned, it's almost time for the prototype qualifying. This is where the money's made. It's the big teams, the big boys, the big names are in this category. Obviously, there's some not putting down any of the GTE categories. Obviously, there's some big teams in that, but we've got a lot of drivers and a lot of teams in the prototype class. All obviously in this Oracle 07 car. Yeah, the only reasonable LMP2 provided by rFactor in the endurance pack, which you can obviously purchase off of the Steam store or DLC or wherever you happen to have bought your rFactor from, if you wish. Now, it has come to my attention, obviously, that unless I'm not mistaken, apologies, I was right the first time. Ignore me. I'm just rambling on a bit, just getting a bit stir crazy as I'm waiting for the next round of qualifying to start. One of you, I know we talked about predictions earlier, but do you have any predictions coming through into the prototype category of qualifying?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but won't we? Because yeah, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, my money is mainly going to be on NetRex or Evolution. That's all I'm going to say on that.
We will just have to wait and see. We're just waiting for the countdown now to prototype qualifying 20-minute session. Obviously, we don't need as much time because there's less cars, so you've got more track space to set your lap. Obviously, we can see here the fair weather is intended to stay for Saturday. Obviously, it's supposed to be raining in Florida on the day, and we've had several comments about that in the Discord. Obviously, people would love to have a real weather, and there's a few people who just love the rain, especially around Sebring. So it's a real tricky circuit, and just throwing the weather, and that makes it even harder to drive and even more rewarding. But I can confirm that the weather will be staying fair due to server reasons. Obviously, come the endurance series next year, I'm sure that the weather scenario may change, but we'll have to see for now as we count down the minutes. Here on VMG TV, broadcasting to you live directly from our bedrooms in Discord. just waiting for waiting now. 5 minutes now until prototype qualifying. We have had the call. Now, obviously, just like to talk for a bit about the whole COVID situation. Usually, most people would like to avoid it, but I'd just like to talk about it, and obviously, the opportunities that it's provided sim racing. Obviously, the coronavirus pandemic for the world has been disastrous. There's millions of people have unfortunately been killed, and it's the global economy has taken a big tank, and many people have been unemployed, left without a job, and it's really has been tough on the general world. And while it's obviously not enjoyable to say what I have with all those factors, it really has done wonders for the world of sim racing. Obviously, suddenly everyone finds themselves stuck at home. It's very beneficial. Obviously, lots of motorsport fans out there getting a bit bored very quickly with no racing on it. We're lucky with sim racing, and that it is probably the closest esport you can get to replicate its real life counterpart. Obviously, because you can drive directly with wheels and pedals. With football, we just don't have the technology to virtual reality yourself into the middle of a football pitch. Instead, for example, you've just got to play FIFA or Pro Evolution Soccer with a controller. Obviously, with sim racing, we can just wake up in the morning and roll over and fire up the PC and go and do some laps. And the influx of people we've had in sim racing has been wonderful, and it's provided many opportunities. Obviously leagues have boomed, and it's enabled me to get my start in commentary, which has been very enjoyable to say the least. And as we hopefully see a vaccine coming forward, it's allowed this magical VMG league to arrive on the scene, and hopefully to stay around. And just had the call from our broadcaster that we do have 1 minute to go until the prototype category heads out and onto their qualifying sessions, or hopefully heads out anyway. We could see no one leaving the pits immediately. I would say that's unlikely, but you never know with sim racing. You can't predict anything. As we just wait now here on a VMG TV, live from virtual Sebring in virtual Florida, in virtual America, on rFactor 2. There is a car on the exit of the pit lane. Just waiting now, with still a minute and a half to go on the calendar. It's Santu Enqvist in the AFP car. Very quick driver, Santu. I've always spoken very highly of him. I'm slightly surprised he's waiting, I must say. I thought he'd just been remaining in the pits, but he's obviously getting a little bit impatient. They're fed up of waiting. There is another car, I believe, pulling out behind him as well. Who is that coming forward? That is the Omicron sim racing car. And we've got a few cars on the exit of the pits now. Looks like they're all going to get out when they can. Green flag is about to be dropped. Waiting now. Yellow flag in sector 1 because the game isn't sure how to handle all the people sat on the pit exit. 40 seconds to go on the clock. 4 cars all lined up, just ready to go. And we are waiting here now for the prototype category, the LMP2s, the Oricas to head out and decide what 20 seconds now. I can hear our broadcaster and league manager Joey excitedly in my ear telling me, just counting down. Another car pulling out in the pits behind them. They're all eager to get away. Only 13 cars on this grid, and most of them are sitting at the pit exit. It is green flag for the prototype category. Santu Engqvist pulls away, and look at the train behind him. This is going to be interesting heading out onto the first lap. Let's see if he can get a bit of a gap here in the AFP number 10 car. Heading around on his outlap just to gauge what the track is like. Obviously the track is a lot more grippy now than it is when the GT cars first headed out. And one of the positives with rFactor and sim racing in general is as advanced as the tyre model is, you don't have to deal with different types of rubber compound being laid down. Obviously, I don't believe that any of the GT3 cars run different rubber compounds to the GTs. I believe it's all Michelin tyres. But obviously in real life, some GT3s do use Dunlops, as do GTEs or Continentals as well. And an effect that a lot of people don't often think about in endurance racing. This happens especially in kart racing as well, when the junior categories and the senior categories often use different tyre compounds, and it can really affect the sessions, because you can go out and actually in the first half of the session, because it's a different rubber compound that is grippier than the tyres that you're on, it's faster. So that's a lot in real life. That's obviously an issue. It's not in rFactor 2. As realistic as the game is, it's not that realistic. So take that as a win or a loss. I personally take it as a loss. I'm a bit of a realism nerd myself. I love all those intricate details you can get in real life motorsport, which you just don't think about. But then again, sim racing also has its intricate details that you won't think about. It's its own fine art. While obviously it's trying to replicate motorsport, it is an esport. It is its own thing, and it is, it's very much got its own little tips and tricks which you can follow. As Santu Engqvist starts the lap times in the AFP number 10 car for the prototype category. Gets a little bit on the grass on the exit of the first corner, but it is planted, as you can see, through this opening section. On his way now through Gurney Bend, on the way to the hairpin. I always wax lyrical about Santu, but he is a very, very quick driver. I've been lucky enough to, not in the same category obviously, I've never actually happened to drive against him in the same category, but I've had to drive against him in the same race once or twice, and he is absolutely rapid, I can tell you. Setting up purple first sector. It appeared that no one's going to double on that. Through Cunningham corner now. And he's still got the purple first sector. It's a good 0.3 faster than anybody else, I believe. Although according to my live timing, it now isn't, because apparently David Kalokski in the Mugen sim racing car has gone faster, and Paul Holtz also just set a purple middle sector. So don't trust everything you can believe on the TV. Obviously, he's going to set the provisional pole time, because he will be the first to cross the line. Let's see if he can just hold it through Sunset Bend. This big sweeping right-hander. It's going to, when we get to the race, it's going to be the location of most of your accidents, I can tell you now. Trying to overtake and lap thrust crew here is an absolute nightmare. Santu Engqvist crosses the line, starts off the lap times with a 1:47. It's a good lap, and immediately Omicron Sim Racing goes faster with a 1:46, and immediately Fair Racing and immediately Mugen Sim Racing into the 1:45s. David Kalokski, that's a lap. So
yeah, that's a lap indeed, and one of my predictions is coming right here. Make sure you keep an eye on NetRex and Evolution's yet to set a lap time, so they should be at the sharp end of the grid as well. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Indeed, Evolution still to set a lap. NetRex currently sitting pretty in P3. Mugen Sim Racing, that's a lap and a half. I may have just been waxing lyrical about Santu Engqvist for the entire lap, but my oh my, 6/10, nearly 7 up on the Fair Racing team number 3 car. And that is a car without a rear wing, and I believe that is Santu Engqvist. No, it's not, it's Roland Sukes in the second AFP car. The number 4, Roland Sukes, has ended up without a rear wing. I'd assume he has lost it in Sunset Bend, just going to reset his vehicle and head straight back out with no damage, no repair times needed in sim racing qualifying. you can just get straight back out there. Here with Patrick Silvassi in the Omicron car. Green middle sector. Bit of smoke coming through that corner. I think there might have just been a bit of a lock-up. And yeah, you can see there, he's just run awfully wide through there. That's gonna be that lap down the drain. You can see his brakes are glowing. I wonder if he's in fact actually had a bit of brake trade through there. He's just overcooked it on the brakes. And there is a car off to the left there as well, as we're following Yannick Bock round in the Evolution car. I believe that was the... not sure who that was just off the track there. Apologies. They seem to have got back on okay. 40 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Let's go on board here with Yannick as he heads through the last few corners. Coming through Bishop Bend on his way to Gendebien Bend. And now onto Le Mans Curve. How wide does he take it? Doesn't take it too wide on the entry, and also doesn't take too much curl on the mid corner, but really uses the runoff there to try and get out as fast as you can. That is a great corner to really see the different driving styles of different people. In the different lines, there's many ways to take that corner quickly. You can really see the different lines through there. Heading through the final corner now at Sunset Bend, that big long right-hander under the bridge. Yannick Bock, he's gone green in the first two sectors and he goes green again in the third, and it's second place for Yannick Bock in the Evolution car. Coming in just shy of 5/10 down on the Mugen Sim Racing number 9. what a phenomenal lap there. That was by David Kaloksa, and he's already in the pits. He's very confident. Only car in the 1 minute 45 as it stands.
Yeah, I want to get my predictions coming to light a little bit. So all we need now is just Netrex to improve on their game. Then we've got a serious race on our hands.
We do indeed. The current driver at the wheel of the Netrex car, Ivan Leonov. Sitting at 1 minute 46.5. Not a slow lap by any means. Just under a tenth down on Paul Holt in the Fair Racing number 3, who sits P3. So it's I'm pretty confident that he can easily improve on that. So it appears that Ron's predictions have been bang on the money this time round. Mugen, Evolution, and Netrex seem to be the ones to watch heading into Saturday. Obviously, still 12 minutes, 30, more like 13 minutes left. Still can't call anything, but just judging from what we can in the comms booth. Obviously, there is another practice session, official practice number 2, just before the race tomorrow. On Saturday, even not tomorrow. It's Thursday today, not a Friday. I'm ready for the end of the week, shall we say? But obviously, another official practice session before the race on Saturday, as Scott Burkhart in the GER car managed to slot into P7. So we can see, we can hear in the comms booth, we can jump into the server nice and early, as can all the drivers as well if they want to have a go driving, just to see where the times stack up in terms of the race pace. Because as I was mentioning earlier, the Mugen car, it's currently 5/10 up on the Evolution car, but come the race, the Evolution car may be faster. It just all depends on how the car's set up, where the drivers are strong and confident. There really is so many different variables into what makes a car fast in each individual session, and what wins you the race is being the fastest in all of them. And one ACO managed to just slot into P3 there with Ricardo Costa at the wheel. Big lap time there from Ricardo Costa in the number 14 car. 6.8 down on Mugen Sim Racing, and there pulls one of the AFP cars into the pits, and here we slide onto the other AFP car of Santa Enquist, who set a green first sector, coming through now through Collier's Bend, coming forward through onto Tower Curve. Bit of a slide there from Santu. Yeah, I'm not very sure if he's particularly settled with this car. Santu's a bit weird, and he loves a very, very low downforce setup. So, what we saw there was the characteristics of a car braking rear traction, so it may have low downforce on it. But then again, obviously it's a team game in endurance racing, and he's one out of possibly many. If I just check how many people are in his car, I can let you know. So it may be that it's Mika Hakimi alongside him. The number 2 driver in that car is Mika Hakimi, who's himself a very quick driver on the Toyota Young Drivers Malaysia program, set for real world motorsport experience next year. Here's even Leonov, who set a purple first sector in the Netrex car. Can he improve? Yes, he can. Just about. Up to P3. Ron, your predictions are right, mate.
Oi. No, well, nearly right, because Fair have actually taken back third.
They have just taken back third seat. I spoke too soon, but there's still 9 minutes and 45 seconds to go, so we'll have to see what happens. But as I was mentioning, Mika Hakimi is obviously on the on track for a real-world motorsport program in Malaysia starting next year. Very quick driver, and I'm having raced with him. I can let you know, and having talked with him on several occasions, I can let you know that he does not like Santu's setup. He does not like how Santu sets up cars, but neither do most people. Santu's he loves a funky setup, does Santu. It may just be that his driving style does not suit this track. You never know. That is often the case here. That number 10 AFP car down in P6, and it's a sister having not actually set a lap time yet in P14. I'm not sure if that's a confidence thing, or if Ernest and Roland have not headed out yet. Roland should be at the wheel. I'll just see if I can get any confirmation on why they haven't headed out yet. Maybe there is a technical issue on their side, because there's only 8 minutes to go, and leaving it this late to set a few laps is well, it's confident, but teetering on stupid. I'm willing to say, because it's leaving it very, very late, and if you don't string a lap together, obviously in sim racing it's quite hard to get into the zone, because you're not as immersed as you're on real life for obvious reasons. All you're feeling is through your hand and your feet and what you can see and hear. You're not getting any G forces, no sensation through your backside, and the sensations you get through your hands and your feet are not as good as they would be in real life. So you've really got to concentrate to try and turn your brain on, and it can take some time before you manage to string a lap together. Big lock up there for Yannick Bock in the Evolution car coming through the last corner. So we'll have to see what happens with that number 4 AFP car, if there's a problem there. Yannick Bock improves on his time.
Wow.
Now within 2.5 tenths of the Musion car.
And so does the Fair racing team and the Netrex cars, I believe.
They do indeed. They're now back in the pits, but they're really, really close. It's really, really tight up the top end of this prototype category in the Orica LMP2s. Here's Peter Vagapov in Team Iris. That a striking purple and green livery, which I must say was took me a bit by storm as a car going straight on there off to the side, almost into the wall. Peter Vagapov, a bit of a wobble coming through the corner, manages to hold it straight. Crosses the line, does improve on his lap time. It's P11 for Team RS, 8 tenths down on the next car though, in the on the GER Glove Endurance RAC number 13. And there you go. The number 4 AFP car of Roland Sux has just found himself up in 4th place. So I was saying that's confidence, and it appears that confidence has paid off, because that's a very, very good opening lap there from the number 4 car, Roland Sux at the wheel. And it's likely with 6 minutes to go, the car's probably not fully turned on at this moment in time, so I would expect to see him going faster and faster as we come now just over 6 minutes to go in qualifying. Here's Ricardo Costa in the 1ACO car, and he set a purple first sector as well. The track has started to come alive here at Virtual Sebring. Let's see what he can do as he comes up to the split in the middle sector. It's green in the middle sector, not purple, but still an improvement on his previous time, so he will still be up, I presume. Coming now, Le Mans curve, doesn't quite take all the exit, doesn't quite use all the curb on the inside, but uses all the curb on the outside. Now if he was in a go-kart, his head would be firmly in his steering wheel, trying to get that slipstream all the way down to Sunset Bend. Big long back straight, seems to go on forever. Turning really quickly, try not to get a twitch going, manages to hold it stable right up to the wall. What can Ricardo do as he comes to the line, holds it straight? It's P2 there for Ricardo Costa in the 1ACO car, only 1/10 off the Musion car, which still sits pretty at the top of the timing sheets. David Kaloksai is back out, but isn't improving as it stands. Now with 5 minutes to go, Ron, do you want to make any corrections to your predictions? Or are you still going to stick with them for the grid?
I'll stick with the Mugen prediction. As far as Evolution and NetRex goes, actually, I'll stick with Evolution if they can pull one more surprise out of the bag. But for NetRex, I'm actually going to change it to fair.
That's fair enough, I guess you could say.
Oh, that's no.
We've been on point with our horrendous puns today in the comms booth. Today in qualifying of the VMG 1000 Miles of Sebring. Now, Marco Antonio Rodriguez, Satellite Racing, number 7. Not seen much of him today, I must say, as he heads into Sunset Bend with a very nice onboard camera. So I haven't actually seen that before. So that's a nice angle to catch. Really shows you the speed, and he's heading into the pits. So we won't be seeing much more of him. He's heading to the pits. 4 minutes to go. I'd expect he's going in for a fresh set of boots and perhaps just a little bit of splash on fuel just to try and make those final 4 minutes. Paul Holt in the fair team, he's set 2 green sectors, so we could see a big lap here from the number 3 car. A bit of a lock-up coming into Sunset Bend. Hopefully that doesn't upset the car too much. Seems to have it pretty planted, and he's coming into the pits as well.
All right.
I'm being let down here by everyone. That being said, Ivan Leonov in the NetRex car, P2.
Can I change back to my original prediction, please?
And NetRex back on Ron Squire's list, ladies and gentlemen, and others. That's a big lap there from Ivan Leonov. He was down in his first sector, and then a purple in the middle and a green in the final sector. That's a big lap there. He's a 10th, and the 1ACO car, 600ths off him as well. It is super tight here at the top of the prototype category, as we saw with the GTE categories. Here at Virtual Sebring, it's all to play for with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go on the clock. Yannick Bock for the Evolution Motorsports car, hoping to make up some time as well. He's got 2/10 to make up. Let's follow him into the hairpin. Let's see how late he brakes just beyond the 300 board. Bit of a wobble going in. Manages to get it straightened up. And again, a bit of a wobble on the exit as well, but uses all the curb and then some on the inside. It's a purple first sector for Yannick Bock in the Evolution car. It seems like the track is just getting faster and faster as the session goes on. David Koloksai is in the pits, so he will have to come out to try and solidify that pole time, because I would not feel comfortable if I was that Mugen team sitting in the pits. I would not be confident, because the track is just speeding up, as we can tell from the new purple sectors that are coming in. And let's see what Yannick Bock can do. In the middle sector, it is a green middle sector. Certainly not bad by any means, not the purple that he'd have wanted. Let's see what he can do as he comes into the Le Mans curb and onto Sunset Bend. Uses all the curb on the entry and the exit. There's a car smoking.
That's Leonov.
That's Leonov smoking, no longer smoking. I'm not sure what was gone on there, but he set a purple first sector in the NetRex car, and he's now coming into the pits. It appears that
here comes Bock, and he has, like I said, improved in the first sector, improved in the second sector, I believe. Oh, nearly touched the wall there. Can he get into top 3 here? Yes!
P2 for Yannick Bock. And there's a spin there for Santu Engqvist on the end of his lap. Deja vu again. Santu's still got time to set another lap or 2. But Yannick Bock, 200ths, nearly 300ths of a second off. And Roland Sukes in the AFP number 4 car set a purple first sector and a green middle sector as well. I want to see if the Mugen car's back out there. It is on an out lap. It's going to need to be a very, very quick out lap, because that Mugen car will want to solidify that pole position. It looks like it really is going to come down to the wire here at Sebring. Roland Sukes coming into Sunset Bend. He's still got time for another lap as well if he feels like he wants to go out and do another one. Coming through, doesn't use all of the track on the exit of the corner. Very interesting to see, but he comes to the line, doesn't improve in the last sector. He's still made a place on the Fair Racing team. 4/10 off of the Mugen car. And now here we see it's across the line. Nello Pastorino goes 7th in the BHK car. Santu Engqvist, who I was also waxing lyrical about at the start, is finding himself dropping further and further down the order. Yellow in sector 1, gone as quickly as it came out. Peter Vagapov. All these drivers still have time to set another lap, so these could just be their warm-up laps, frankly. Heading into Sunset Bend. Big lock-up over the bumps. Manages to keep it going though. Runs as wide as he can. Very, very close to the wall. It juices a bit of an intake of breath from Ron Squire there. That's how close he got. It is an improvement up to P12 from Mr. Vagapov there. And it looks like he is not going to go again, because the way that car went through the first corner and seemingly backed off. I would say that he is happy with his time. He feels that's all he can give. David Koloksai in the Musion car has set up purple first sector. Oh, and it's a big slide!
Another deja vu.
Another deja vu moment. It's a big slide for the car that sits on provisional pole. They wanted to go out and confirm that they had the pole, and it's a big slide. And again, he runs wide, but the Evolution car is in the pit, so the Evolution car is done. So the only people that can challenge David Koloksai at the moment as he sets a very, very yellow middle sector is NetRex, perhaps the AFP number 4 if they've managed to pull something out of the bag. But
And
David
one-
Koloksai.
And one echo, don't forget, one echo.
One echo, I believe, are in the pits though. Yes, they are. Ricardo Costa's in the pit, so it appears that it's going to have to be Ivan Leonov that's going to have to set the time. David Koloksai, I do not believe he's going to improve. He lost so much time in the middle sector. It's a big wobble as well, running very, very wide. I believe you're going to see him cut inside. Yes, heading into the pits. Where is the NetRex car? What can they do? Here it is. Leonov is down in the first sector. He's down by a long way. Oh, he's 6 seconds down. He must have had a spin. It appears that will be it for qualifying.
But can we check on the fair racing team just to make sure?
Yep, let's see what the fair racing team is done. I had confirmation in our ear. This will be it for your qualifying. Musion Sim Racing. Their confidence has managed to hold them and lead them to the pole. They could have gone faster. A big mistake from David Koloksai. Manages to keep onto it.
I will say this: first race of a new series, the first prediction I actually got off the bat, in the immortal words of a cartoon villain, "I'll have to give myself a promotion."
Ron Squire's excited. So am I. It's been a hell of a qualifying here at VMG TV, as we see the cars heading back into the pits now. Your predictions then, they were bang on the money. Musion, Evolution and NetRex. So we come into the pits now. And we will be having the results up on screen shortly from qualifying for this 1,000 miles of Sebring here at the Virtual Motorsport Group, concluding our first ever session as a series. Might I say it's been a success. It's been a very exciting session, but here is your results. David Koloksai, the Musion Sim Racing car, starts on pole. Yannick Bock in P2, Ivan Leonov in P3, and Ricardo Costa in P4 for the 1ACO car. Then on to P5, Roland Sux in the 04 AFP, the Fair Racing car, Paul Holt in P6, Nello Pastorino in P7, and Santu Enquist lines up in P8. Then on to P9, it's Patrick Silvassi with the Omicron car, who we are expected to see a little bit higher up the grid than that. Marco Antonio Rodriguez in the Satellite Racing, Scott Burkhart in the GER car. Following Scott Burkhart, we do have Peter Vagapov, then Lazio Molnar, Adam Suraj, and Nico Barkley, and then Laszlo rounds out the grid here. Now that is all we have time for here at VMG TV. Thank you for joining us for qualifying. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to the broadcasters. Thank you to Ron Squire as well for joining me. It's been a pleasure, Ron.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Ross.
Yeah, thank you for having us, everyone. That concludes our qualifying stream, and make sure to tune in on Saturday for the 1,000 miles of Sebring race. What will happen? You'll find out. Tune in then. Thanks for listening.
Tuna Pip.